Yo, 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 what's going on, peoples? How y'all doing? Kunal here. Bulls on Wall Street. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's late night on Tuesday. Look forward to seeing everybody in tomorrow's webinar, by the way. I think it's at 5 p.m. Just check on the YouTube channel. It should come along live. But in the meantime, I promise to do these ticker reviews every week for you guys. So here is the next batch. And, of course, feel free to email info@bullsonwallstreet.com. Any requests you have on tickers that you'd want review, I'll put them in the batch, and we'll get going from there. So my man, let's see here. My man Collin here is asking about Puma Pharmaceuticals. He really likes this one for a potential long, and he wanted to know what I thought of this one. So a couple different things that go through when I look at this. Number one, this stock had like some news on, so it's gone in this massive run, right? And it's having a very, very healthy digestion. When a stock goes from $30 to $90, that's a 300% return in a handful of days, right? Stocks are like people, they've got to rest, right? They've got to come and rest and work off that overbought condition. There are two ways to work off an overbought condition in a stock. Number one is via price, meaning a stock pulls back for a period of time and works that off. The second way you can work it off is through time. Time also allows a stock to rest and to heal, and that can allow it to build up new energy for it to get on your way. And so, you know, you're having like a range that's kind of developing here, and it's been trying to break out, but it just can't do it just yet. But it's getting there. Today it had some news out, and it kind of just flatlined for the rest of the day. But, you know, the overall structure of this stock is really bullish. You can see here there's a lot of volume accumulation. There's a volume increase in today's. And so I do anticipate that this stock is going to look higher. The one thing that I try not to do is with these type of biotechs, I try not to hold them overnight, too many shares. I personally don't hold them overnight at all. And the reason is because they do at times come and gap, and you can see like here it had a gap where it came down, give or take, right, $10, $15 here, $5, and it's gapped up, and you've had this, see this right here, that's a gap down. And so, you know, when a stock like this, it's beholden to news, the worst thing I'd want to see for somebody is, you know, it come down with bad news or something, because it is a biotech stock, and that's always around the corner, and you get, you know, smoked out. So, you know, my thinking is this is a bullish look. It does look higher, but I tend not to hold these things overnight. That's just my personal preference. Doesn't mean that, you know, you can't, but there's always a risk involved. CZR. So one of our friends here, Michael's asking about CZR, and this is actually, it looks like a pretty strong stock. It's recently had an uptrend here, but with multiple consolidations where it's been breaking out of its flag. This last month and a half, it's consolidated in a very tight range from 1150 to basically 13, and you finally broke that consolidation. One of the things to do when you're looking at ranges and consolidations is, you know, is the range tight? Is there any signs of volume distribution? If inside the range I start to see that distribution, I tend to believe that the breakout will either fail or it just won't hold. We don't see anything. It's a neutral volume pattern. You've got a tight range, and now you've thrust it out of resistance, and you've confirmed it with expanding volume today with 2 times its relative volume that it normally is, which is usually around 2. And today it came in at 5.4, so that gives you the confirmation that the price break was real. Volume, guys, is a confirming indicator, meaning it doesn't tell you when to buy a stock. It doesn't tell you if something's good or bad. What volume does is it assigns validity to price actions and price patterns. And so we can use volume to confirm what we see with our eyes in terms of price. So overall, it's a good look. You know, your risk is really down to just down over here. So if you're looking to maybe swing trade this, you've got maybe about $1 risk of where you put your stop loss, you know, or if you didn't get it today already. Nvidia, so somebody has been asking about Nvidia. This has been a daily trader for me. So this is my man Tim. He's been asking about Nvidia, and you know, it had this epic drop here for about $20. You know, a couple weeks ago, the whole tech market was dropping, which is normal because once again, when we're talking about dropping, people always think of something when it pulls back. We're so short-term biased. Something pulls back, we think that's really bad, that the run is over, or this is bearish. And I think like that sometimes too, because we feel and see what we see right in front of us, right? It's a recency bias. What the action has been in the last few days impacts really what we're thinking about the stock. We're thinking about the market. Oh, the market's awful, or the stock is awful because of what's been happening. And that's why pullbacks are so tough, because right, stock is bleeding out, and it's just that weighs on you. But we always have to think about it in terms of the bigger picture, the full context of what is happening in the market, what is happening in the sector, and then of course in the stock. And you know, this thing went from 100 to 170. It's a big cap, multi-billion-dollar company. That's a huge gain. And so, you know, to pull back $20, $30, it'll feel ugly, it'll look ugly. But, you know, you haven't seen this thing touch the lower Bollinger Band in its whole run. And so, you know, an oversold pull to a lower Bollinger can be a good buy signal when you break trend line. And now you're retesting here. You know, if this thing goes sideways for a couple days, or even tomorrow, it potentially could go. But I'd like for it to tighten up a little bit here. It looks like a breakout to highs could be in the cards at some point, but I personally would like to see a little bit of consolidation before it happens. If you don't, then the probability is getting kind of a shake and bake where you rip above and pull back under. They increase slightly, so you know, I want to see a tighter range with more tests on there. But overall, awesome stock. It's got a good range. It's got the volume you need in terms of liquidity, being able to get it out. And you can see, like, right, if you can get a $3 or $4 or $5 range in a stock, even if you're trading just 100 shares or 50 shares, right? If you have a smaller account, you could still catch a couple $100 here or there, and you know, start building yourself up a better day. And we got my man Josh here asking about VRX. And this is a stock I've actually been eyeballing myself. You know, I've had it on my watch list for a little bit also. And you can see, so look, this thing was at $300. It's just been on an epic downtrend, okay? But recently it started to pull out of that downtrend with some big volume here. So you started to see this push from 9 to 14 with the volume to confirm 100 million, 70 million, 100 million shares again. So that volume is confirming that price action and the potential for a bottom to be put in on a short-term basis. And you got a run where it doubled up. And you got a nice 1 month consolidation where it broke again. And now you've pushed again. And so all you're doing here is just flagging out again, right? You're developing a range here. And it's resting right on its 9 EMA. But it's consolidating on a very, very low volume, which is bullish, right? When I'm looking at consolidations, I don't want to see signs of distribution. So as long as this stock can kind of hold this range here, you know, you're starting to build out a flag, and at some point it's going to come out of here and start its next run. So right now the range is a little bit loose. You can see it's just starting to tighten up. So when I think of patterns and stocks, there's always a certain level of imagination that goes into it, right? When you have a looser pattern, you've got to imagine, right, over days as the pattern tightens, what's it going to look like, right? So you can already start to see, right, as this thing comes down and starts to tighten up, it's going to go whoop, and then it can go, and that's when you'll get your kind of inflection point here. So it should make a move soon, and the key is really make sure that the 16 area holds, and we want to be building that flag out. So those were the tickers that everybody had asked about. There was one gentleman, my man Ricardo, asked about the Euro, USD. I'm not big into Forex, but you know, patterns are patterns. Guys, one of the things that you'll notice about trading is it's all the same shit. So I wouldn't really worry about whether you know it or not know it. So one of the things with this thing is, you know, you've just got a big trend here, right? And so you got a breakout, flat top breakout, pull back to the 9, so breakout, pull back, and now you're just trending up the 9 EMA. So, you know, overall, this looks pretty bullish. If you're already long it, then congratulations. If you were looking to add a new position right now, probably not till I get a nice consolidation or pullback. It has been trending for a little bit of time, and you're slightly overbought. And so any type of pullback or consolidation could work out well. Hold on, let me get back there. But you know, at the moment, I wouldn't be adding this. But if you're already in it, it's definitely a hold. So kind of a couple ways to look at it. So guys, I hope that helps. I'll see everybody in the webinar tomorrow. And let me know if you have any questions. Take care.